So in this video, I want to show you how we're going to deal with expanding brackets that involve surds. So I'm going to take a look at two examples. So in our first example, we're going to have root 2 outside the bracket times by root 2 plus 3 inside the bracket. Okay? Now, what you want to do is you want to tackle this in the same way as you would expanding brackets with algebra. Now, you can do this in a multitude of different ways in how you lay it out. The way I was originally taught would have been to do root 2 times root 2 and then root 2 times 3. So what you're making sure of is that whatever's on the outside of the bracket is multiplying with everything that's on the inside. Now, this allows you to track which bits you're multiplying together. You could also do it in a grid, so we could have root 2 and then root 2 and then the plus 3, and do it in a times table grid like this, whichever way will best help you. So if we've got root 2 times root 2, then that's just going to be 2. Okay, so this is the first thing that we need to get to grips with, because we've looked at simplifying surds. We understand that we can break something like this apart into two pieces like this. So the square root of 2 times 2 is, of course, just the square root of 4, and 4 is a square number, so that is 2. Okay, so we can go through and think about it that way. Alternatively, you can think of this as going, well, we've got root 2 and I'm timesing it by itself, so I'm squaring it. So there are two processes at play here. We're square rooting first and then we're squaring, but they are inverse operations of one another, so they cancel one another out. So root 2 all squared should be 2. Okay, so we can multiply surds together like that and simplify. So then we have root 2 times 3. So that's 3 lots of root 2, and I know I can write that as 3 root 2. So when I expand this out, I get 2 plus 3 root 2, and that's my answer. Now with my second example, I've got root 2 plus 3 times root 2 take away 5. And again, we need to make sure that everything that is in this bracket multiplies with everything that is in this bracket. So the root 2 needs to multiply with the root 2, and the root 2 needs to multiply with the minus 5. And the 3 needs to multiply with the root 2, and the 3 needs to multiply with the minus 5. However you want to lay this out, if you want to do it that way, that's fine. Or if you want to do it in a grid, we can do that also. Now I've already got the root 2 plus 3 there, and I've got the root 2 there, so I can just add on the minus 5, don't I? It doesn't matter which one goes in the row or column. We could have had root 2 take away 5 along the top, and then root 2 plus 3 down the side. It's perfectly fine, it doesn't matter. So I've already done the top row there. Minus 5 times root 2 is going to be minus 5 root 2. And then minus 5 times 3 is minus 15. So grouping those terms together, we have a 2 and a minus 15, which add together to make minus 13. And we have minus 5 root 2 plus 3 root 2. So I'll be left with minus 2 root 2. And so this double bracket expands to this. Okay? So that is how we can expand brackets, and we'll see some more examples of this in the next video.